Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV, 47 ABC WNBT and 93.5 The Beach. Coming to you from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. As we're feeling holly and jolly after the Ravens' 28-13 win against the Miami Dolphins. Don't forget, coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock, the Ravens hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kickoff at 1 o'clock, M&T Bank Stadium. Network pregame at 12:30. Catch us on Comcast Beach TV. Catch us on 47 ABC, WNBT, and 93.5 The Beach. Mike Bradley, Spencer Tillis, Steve Slaza here on the panel. And, guys, a lot of news and notes to get to before we get to our defense. You know, I talked at the outset about Haloti Ngata, the defensive tackle. He's out for the rest of the regular season for taking Adderall, which was a violation of the substance abuse policy. And, you know, it just – you just can't fathom what is going through his mind. I mean, the same thing happened with the Orioles and Chris Davis. And you're thinking, again? And for a guy like Haloti Ngata, who's been a stand-up guy, great hunter on his shoulders, has never been an issue. Spencer, that's a killer given the stats I read, and he's been healthy for the first time in about 2 years, is really producing for this team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a mistake that you just can't make right there. I mean, at the end of the day, especially at this point in the season, knowing that they're going to need him down the stretch, and a guy that you are really expecting and depending on to be there, he's such an anchor on that line. I mean, he was really having one of his bounce-back seasons right now. He was having a great year, and the fact that they lost him hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt continually for the next few games as well, but that really put a damper on that line.
At least, Steve, it's a position where we do have depth. And we talked about we talked about Ozzie Newsome and his bounce-back year in the draft. Timmy Jernigan out of Florida State did a nice job rotating in, along with Chris Candy as well.
You look at and Jernigan was ready, you know, as he's had 2 sacks in the last 3 games, and you looked at him coming on, and you know, Haloti Ngata may not be with the team next year. And you look at, you know, if Jernigan comes through and does what everyone expects he will over these 4 games, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the Ravens do with Ngata at the end of the year.
Although early on, you're seeing, you know, Miami running the football, and I'm saying, boy, Haloti Ngata, he would be pretty helpful there. And you know, you talk about him maybe not being back next year, salary cap age, but you've seen this year what he's capable of doing and how he's been such a boost for that defensive line and helping other guys like Brandon Williams at nose tackle, has had a great year as well. You're saying, yeah, this is killing us, especially if this is the last couple of games.
And how really cutting him is only going to save him like $2.5 million. It won't be that big.
So who knows? He may or may not be, but you see what you can get out of him and the impact he can make.
Yeah, it looked like the perfect storm there to start the Miami game. I mean, they were running. It looked like starting in the middle, and then he was bouncing it to the outside, and they got a few good runs. But that first quarter, they were running all over the Ravens defense, it felt like. And it looked like this is simply because they didn't have Ngata in the middle after how good they were against the run all the season coming into that. I mean, that's the only difference in the equation at that point anyway. But it looked bad early on because of that.
Yeah, watching some tape, too, Darryl Smith this year, he's a solid linebacker, but he gets blocked at times. It does happen. I saw a missed tackle, shocker, by Matt Elam, unfortunately. He's had a terrible year. But anyway, we certainly know the importance of Haloti Ngata. All right, quickly, Torrey Smith, right now, he doesn't have any ligament damage, but his knee is banged up right now. He's probably going to sit out most of practice this week. We'll see if he plays Sunday against Jacksonville. Danny Gore, we talked about, tore his MCL, PCL. He's out for the year, becomes the 4th Ravens cornerback to suffer a season-ending injury this season. That's the way it's been for the Ravens secondary. Cornerback Anthony Levine, he's going through the concussion protocol this week, so he may or may not be ready for Jacksonville's game. Rookie tight end Crockett Gilmore, who's done a nice job this year, especially blocking. He's caught a few passes. You certainly know a lot about Crockett Gilmore. We've talked about it with you covering him. He didn't practice today. Running back Lorenzo Taliaferro sustained a minor foot ankle injury. So we've got some guys banged up, and we'll see. Maybe Bernard Pierce gets the lion's share of carries with Forsett also a little banged up in the backfield. The Ravens did sign their veteran quarterback Antoine Cason from the Carolina Panthers to take the place of Danny Gore. And it was a good thing that Asa Jackson came back at corner to help the Ravens out. He did give up a touchdown, although it was a great throw, I thought, in a small window. But good thing we got Jackson back last week.
He was right there, and he made, mistakes he made were over-aggressive, and those are not mistakes that you really mind having, because the rest of the secondary is having under-aggressive mistakes where they're letting the play develop in front of them. But I thought Jackson played well, and having him, if you had your choice, having him back and missing Haloti Ngata, that was a big loss. But the secondary was where you didn't have any replacements, whereas at the defensive line you had some guys like Jernigan and Williams who could step in and give you a little time.
Yeah, there was a corner, and I'm trying to remember, I probably have it here in my notes, but I have to go through it. We picked up a corner from the Miami Dolphins practice squad. He would be the next one to step up. Kaysen probably will be now the backup there, but Jackson's in with Gore being out. A couple other quick things. Deontay Thompson was signed off the practice squad by the Buffalo Bills. Now you might say, Mike, who cares? Not a big deal. But Deontay Thompson was being paid the most money of any practice squad player because of the great looks that he was giving the defense in practice. They raved about the job that he did. And we never talk about practice squad, or hardly ever. Well, he was signed by the Buffalo Bills, getting a chance to start. He's no longer on the team. But it's those kind of things that you might not see that make this Ravens organization a great one.
And he was the fastest player on the team. I mean, he ran 4.2 140, and when you have Torrey Smith go down, he's the guy you could substitute in there. But the way the NFL rules work, if you're not an active roster, you can be picked up by somebody else who will put you on the roster.
If you decide to sign with that team, and he did so. And also some good news, things are going well for Dennis Pitta. There is a good chance that he will play next year. So we'll see about that. Guys, Elvis Dumervil broke the franchise record for sacks in a season. It was 15 that Peter Boulware had. But Elvis Dumervil, we got fortunate with the whole snafu with the Broncos and signing the contract. But we bring Dumervil in, Suggs on the other side, and 3.5 sacks against Ryan Tannehill. And we had, 6 sacks against him last year, and we added up the sacks again on Sunday.
I can tell you, too, being over in Denver when that hole went down, Broncos fans weren't exactly really excited about that whole situation, losing Dumervil, and understandably so, with seeing what he's doing right now. But that line, it goes back to what we were talking about, such good balance across all of it, and the fact that they can't really key on one pass rusher right now, that they are able to get pressure on both sides, that you're still getting something up the middle. You're able to get those one-on-one blocks, and they got some guys that are going to win one-on-one right now.
Well, and you also mix in Pernell McPhee, who can play linebacker, D-line, blitz him. They blitz Mosley occasionally. They blitz Smith occasionally as well. But those ends to have both guys. And Dumervil really above Suggs. He's the guy I feel like the Ravens can expect that has a better chance of getting a sack.
But even you go back to the first half, and it was like a repeat of the week before, where we had 5, false start penalties, where we were just really having trouble. They were doing Tannehill was doing a hard count, and he was getting us every time. And you're going, oh no, how could you not go offsides again after Dumervil went offsides 3 times the week before? So he really came on in the second half, and just really put a job on his man.
Yeah, he did a great job with that. And I know a lot of folks have talked about with our secondary issues, how is it that Miami didn't take any shots downfield, especially with Mike Wallace, who's an excellent receiver. Now, I know they run more of a ball-controlled offense, but with a guy like Mike Wallace, who we know has speed, Miami, I think, game plan was, I think they did us a favor, and that's not to put down the Ravens defense, who played a solid game, but how do you not take some chances downfield against that secondary? That's beyond me, but hey, thank you, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I think that is just Miami's offense. I mean, Tannehill, you look at, they keep talking about he's breaking all these completion percentage records that the team has had. All he's showing is throwing his slant routes and all these quick outs. I mean, it's nothing deep down the field.
His deep ball's like 25 yards.
It's all right in front of him. And then, I mean, they're really trying to transition into being more, I think, of a power running team, and starting with that, and then, those quick passes. But you would think anyone would try and attack the Ravens, deep down the field, that being, clearly what they've struggled with all year long. But you're right. I mean, they definitely did a favor for them not doing that.
Yeah.
But they're basically running the NFL's version of the veer. But with 2- and 3-step drops, you're not going to be able to go downfield because you haven't practiced it all year. So it's not like within the period of 3 days which is all the preparation you get for a game week, you're going to be able to install a long passing attack.
Yeah. Charles Clay, their tight end, the longest catch, 27 yards in the game. That's unbelievable. So they did our secondary a favor. I mean, obviously against the really good passing teams, we know we have issues there. But I'll give our secondary some credit. They held up. They played well. And, the Dolphins, it didn't hurt that they kind of played into
And it was a shame that Gore and Levine got hurt because they were both playing their best game of the year. I mean, hopefully Levine will be back this week. But, Gore, I thought, was really playing well. He had 5 tackles before he goes out, and he just went out on a really tragic play when you look at it.
And I thought Gore, all in all, this year, not great. I know he's got to give up cushion, but all in all, I think Gore coming in has done a pretty good job for this team. I remember when he was on the team a couple of years ago as a nickel guy, he did a pretty solid job. But right now, folks, it's who's up next, because, again, 4 corners out for the year. That's crazy, but it happens.
Yeah, that is some serious. I don't know where you're picking guys up off the street. I feel like almost at that point when they're plugging them in. I mean, the numbers aren't pretty, but that's what you're going to have to deal with right now.
Yeah. One of the things going back to the offense for a second about the fourth quarter runs, the Ravens are one of the best fourth quarter rushing teams. You're talking about capping off games and helping your defense out by keeping them off the field, keeping them rested, especially in hot, sunny Florida like that. They did a good job, so they've come through when it's been most needed this year.
Yeah, going back to what you said, it's kind of that mentality of wearing them down, I think. And once you get to that fourth quarter, the guys are winning up front all day long, and you start, getting a little bit more of a push. Those runs are starting to get a little bit easier, I feel like.
And that's something we didn't do last year, and that helped us not be able to finish off games, because you've got to be able to run the ball late in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter when you have them run down just to, make the clock expire. And we weren't able to do that last year, which is why we lost some down the stretch.
And we had the second most yards in the fourth quarter behind Seattle. So we've rushed for 605 yards. So talk about capping off games. That's certainly a good thing for the Ravens. Joe Flacco, other than that interception that he had, which I don't know why he would throw it up to a short Steve Smith like that. And actually, I thought that would be a hot route kind of combination because there was a free guy that they let come off the edge and didn't block him. So what that means is Steve Smith would run a shorter route. It would be a quick hitter to him, and then he would get yards after the catch and get close to the goal line. That didn't happen, but other than that, we got about 60 seconds. Joe Flacco had a real good game for this team.
Yeah, he's spacing it around, finding his guys. I felt like he was giving them opportunities to make something happen after the catch. It wasn't, tight situations where, they're going to get hit right as they do it. He was doing a great job, I felt like.
He's really understanding the offense now, and he understands, the reason you're looking at your 4th and 5th wide receivers because you know what's going to be open, and you understand the scouting report. I think he's really doing a nice job.
25 of 33, 269 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception, sacked just 1 time. And let's give the offensive line a lot of credit. I thought they did a great job. Miami's got 2 defensive ends that combined for, I believe, over 16 sacks coming into the season. So they did coming into the game, that is, they did a really good job of giving Joe time to throw. More to come as we preview the Jacksonville game coming up. Ravens Wrap Show right here at Comcast Beach TV, 47 ABC, WNBT, and 93.5 The Beach. We're back next.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carrie Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.